Collaboration 2.0, a critical part of the resilience recipe. That is the topic of my discussion today with Mike Jetty. He is Vice President of Consulting with GEP. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Bob. It's a pleasure to connect with you again. Looking forward
And
to today's discussion.
absolutely, me as well. Now, Mike, you have said that this so-called Collaboration 2.0 is a critical part of resilience, which demands the question, what is Collaboration 1.0?
Sure. So, if we think about our supply chain practice, 25, 30 years ago, collaboration became a big theme, particularly the automotive industry really paved the way, working with their component suppliers, actually having people, create full subassemblies, joint process improvements, just-in-time inventory. So a ton of great work there. All started with the premise of, hey, if we can work together, we're going to be able to find ways to take waste out of our combined value chain, and we're going to be able to share that. So that's a great concept. I think what we've seen sometimes is that concept has morphed a bit. And sometimes, unfortunately, what we've seen is maybe the more powerful partner in the relationship has kind of used collaboration to shift responsibility. Maybe they put in place punitive SLAs. They've shifted the risk of carrying inventory and managing obsolescence to vendors. And in some ways, that collaboration has shifted to a way to maybe force responsibility out of my organization onto someone else. And I think, that's a shame.
Maybe a big box retailer talking to its suppliers is using the word collaboration to mean you'll do what we tell you to do if you want your product to be on our shelves. So it also maybe a pushback, some reluctance to share what the two sides might consider to be proprietary information. Is that also an issue in the early days of collaboration?
Yeah, certainly. And I think there's skepticism, right? There's some skepticism in the industry. I work with a lot of high-tech clients, so they have contract manufacturers, kind of critical component suppliers, chips, memory, and both partners are skeptical of the other group's intention. So a lot of the work we've been doing is trying to reopen that dialogue and reestablish trust. And that's really kind of fundamental. Mm-hmm. I'd say one silver lining from the pandemic is that there was so much chaos that everyone kind of threw out the old rule book. They kind of got together and we figured out how to solve problems again. So I'm bullish that there is a good transition into kind of a newer form of collaboration.
Well, there's your human nature aspect. Maybe we don't really respond to change except in a crisis. So I don't know if that's true or not, but it certainly seems to be maybe what you're implying. Okay, so what makes Collaboration 2.0? Could you be more specific about how you added the version, the new update? What does that consist of that maybe wasn't part of what we might call Collaboration 1.0?
Yeah. So I think fundamentally it is getting back to that both parties benefit. That's kind of at its core. But a lot of it is kind of taking, again, some of the positive lessons we learned in 2020 as we kind of put together our virtual war rooms. So what did we see? We saw continuous communication between parties. We saw feedback both up and down the supply chain, so bi-directional feedback. We saw joint problem solving. And we also saw loosening of a lot of contractual constraints, a lot of SLAs, with a focus on solving bigger picture goals. So I think, Collaboration 2.0 is taking all those ideas and making sure that they're scalable, right? We can't kind of put in probably the same approach we did in 2020. We need to figure out, how do we make this scale, but keep all the good? How do we make sure that technology supports this? So that kind of the combination of the principles, it being scalable and supported by technology, I would call that Collaboration 2.0.
And how do we make it bi-directional? It's not just one party demanding that the other, quote unquote, collaborate with it. It has to flow both ways.
Yeah. So it's, there's two aspects to that. One is mindset. So people need to shift and kind of respect that, hey, I do need to listen. It's not just me dictating, but I need to listen about what's coming back. So I'd say 50% is mindset, but 50% is maybe also having the mechanism, the technology the way that those signals can be easily passed back up the supply chain so that people can see them with enough time to react.
One of those larger goals to which you alluded in your previous statement, I assume you would agree with me, is resilience. Why is that so important?
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, resilience, I think everyone's talking about it. I think we've had some previous conversations. I usually say resilience equals visibility plus agility. And if we think about collaboration or collaboration 2.0, it really supports both sides of that equation. So, visibility, if you're collaborating well with your trading partners, you get those early warning signals about potential risks. So, it helps with the visibility component. And then on the second component, agility, right? If you're going to make changes, make adjustments, make sure that you actually satisfy that customer demand, it's going to be in collaboration with your trading partners. So collaboration 2.0 supports those two critical components that are a factor in the resilience equation. And I think the folks who've been successful in the last 18 months, they get it and they're working on this.
All right, they're working on it. How, though? These are pretty high-minded objectives. What do companies need to do to get there?
Yeah. So really two things, first is that collaboration mindset. So it is kind of re-embracing this idea of partnership versus dictating. And sometimes there may be a little bit of a mea culpa, right? Hey, I know we weren't always the best partner, but we're going to change that. And I've seen that that is necessary to reset certain relationships. Also, I think if we think about contractually, sometimes we bound down our trading relationships so tightly, we may need to think about how do we loosen some of that to give both partners more flexibility to react to changes in the marketplace. So collaboration is the first piece, and the second piece is technology, right? Collaboration technology. I don't mean Zoom. I don't mean how we're communicating today, but I'm talking about real-time sharing and visibility across organizational boundaries of inventory, of forecasts, of PO commitments, acknowledgments, in-transit inventory, the ability to kind of dynamically reallocate and make decisions jointly. So having the technology that enables the scaling of the collaboration that we want.
So what you're saying is pretty much the same script that we would expect from any discussion of innovation in supply chain today, and that is two parts. One is technology, one is the human factor, the willingness to collaborate, followed by the supporting technology. Both have to happen, right?
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. Well, fascinating, Mike. Thank you so much for helping us to understand what this 2.0 thing in collaboration really is and how 1.0 maybe got us started, but 2.0 is what we really need to go forward. So thanks for that discussion. I want to turn now to a little bit of talking about GEP itself. And in the light of all these crises and changes that we're seeing in the world today, how does GEP help?
Yeah. So if you think about GEP, one, we're 100% about supply chain sourcing and procurement. So all of our energy, all of our investment is about solving these types of challenges. So I think that's kind of critical, and we believe that you need to be 100% in this game to create value. Specifically around collaboration, there's typically three ways that we're working with our clients. So one is really building that case for change, right? It is helping them work on some of the mindset issues and thinking about, hey, what are some of the process and technology changes? Combining that into a business case that's going to get leadership on board. So the first area is building the case for getting to collaboration 2.0. Then the second area is actually providing that technology. So we have a SaaS-based platform called GEP Next, which supports that type of collaboration on critical supply chain transactions, inventory sharing, forecasts, PO acknowledgements, commitment in transit. So in that enabling collaboration platform is provided by GEP Next capability. And the third area is really helping people along that journey, right? So helping them manage that change, whether it's getting the technology in place, whether it's revising internal processes, or lastly, kind of resetting and rebaselining those relationships with their trading partners.
Certainly, we are in need of some innovative technology in order to reach the Collaboration 2.0 goal. Once again, Mike Jetty of GEP, thanks for talking to me about Collaboration 2.0, as well as a little bit about GEP itself. Good to talk to you. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it.
Excellent. Thank you, Bob.